Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy. Without any further interruptions, enjoy the what if. Chapter 18. Pacifist jewelry. Bonnie pulled herself to her feet and looked at the three hulking, massive figures that had crashed the party and busted into the restaurant without warning or provocation. Hey Uzumaki. I think these guys are here for you. Naruto was already on his feet wiping the dust from the explosion off of himself. Gee, whatever gave you that idea? Was it the calling out of my name and bounty like we had a problem, the glowing red eyes, or the part where they said, immediate execution? Naruto looked at them all. Man, they're huge. Bonnie looked at most of her crew down for the count after the surprise attack. Can you beat them all? Naruto grinned at her. Woman, I'm Uzumaki. Fucking Naruto. There's not a single creature on this beautiful blue ball of water and dirt I can't beat, and if there is, then I'm just not trying hard enough. He got a good look at their attackers. What are they, brothers or something? Bonnie's eyes widened once she was able to get a good look at who they were. Kuma. The Shichibukai Bartholomew Kuma. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Shichibukai. Which one? They all look alike. All of them, she exclaimed. They're all Kuma. We can't take them on. They'll slaughter us. What do they want? Naruto gave her a deadpan look. To kill me. You can run if you want to. Just make sure when you get your crew you get mine up as well. They're not here for you, Bonnie, just me. Aren't I special? She didn't even bother giving it a second thought, hightailing it away from Naruto's side to avoid any conflict and letting him focus on the task at hand. Well, it looks like I'm going to be tearing another town apart. Kami, Noji-chan was right. I do destroy things everywhere I go. With a sigh he left the restaurant and prompted his opponents to follow him in pursuit. XXX. With foxhound pirates, Soren threw a sizable chunk of debris off of his body and looked around. Noticing that everyone else had been knocked senseless by the first attack, he quickly made his way over to them and woke them up. Hey, where's Uzumaki? He then got a dry look on his face. Wait, I don't even need to answer that. He's obviously fighting whatever did this. He looked at Miss Valentine, who was the fastest to recover. Make sure you wake everyone up and tell them me and Uzumaki are fighting. Who knows what it's going to be this time? Miss Valentine nodded, holding her head, and Soren left the ruined building. She then went around making sure that everyone had their awareness about them. Come on, you guys are alright. Nothing even hit any of you. Nojiko and Vivi were still sitting down, disoriented from the first blast. Johnny and Yosaku were standing up, albeit barely. What just happened? Vivi asked. Who did this? Bartholomew Kuma. Bonnie said from nearby as she was getting her own people together. Uzumaki is fighting him right now. She saw their faces pale. Yeah, exactly. And I haven't even gotten to the kicker yet. Apparently there's 3 of them, all gunning for him. Johnny immediately clutched the sword at his hip. What? We've got to go help Phi. No you aren't. Miss Valentine snapped at him, catching everyone off guard as she was never one to yell at anyone in anger. Everyone here would just get themselves killed if we tried anything. We'd just get in Naruto's way, she said. Yosaku wasn't having any of that. He'd help us. Naruto and Ikki would be right there helping us if we needed it. Miss Valentine narrowed her eyes. And how much stronger than you is he? She said, getting them both to calm down. The same rules don't apply to him that they do to you. Just because he can fight and beat anyone doesn't mean you can as well. A Shichibukai would slaughter you all. That would mean that he would be at least as strong as Crocodile. Do you think you'd be any use in a fight with Crocodile? Nojiko frowned at how she spoke to the 2 swordsmen to keep them from running off to fight. You didn't have to put it like that. You made it seem like everything they've done is for nothing. Miss Valentine didn't look the least bit apologetic. Well, it would have all been for nothing if they'd run off like idiots and gotten themselves killed. All that would have done would be to put Naruto in more danger than he already is. Soren shouldn't even be going there, but if he's outmatched at least he can run away fast enough. You all act as if you don't know the food chain by now. It's Naruto, Soren, and then all of us. Vivi looked at all of the destruction around them. So what do we do now? Nojiko looked at the younger princess and then at Miss Valentine. Ship. She nodded. Ship. An explosion sounded out from not too far away. Let's not go that way to get to the docks either. XXX with Naruto. Naruto watched as one of his massive enemies turned a building to rubble. Okay, so they can shoot laser beams. That's fun. And they don't really care about causing property damage either. Naruto cracked his knuckles. What the hell are they though? I know what a human feels like and this isn't a human feeling I'm getting. Kuma came running forward at Naruto with a speed belying its massive size and attempted to punch Naruto into the ground, but his agility was too much for it and it ended up smashing the ground with its fist. Naruto delivered a punch right to the side of his face in response that he had to jump into thanks to the towering size his opponent had over him. However, Naruto's punch barely made the thing slide back over the ground. That punch should have lain out someone even of that size, and his fist didn't feel like it had hit a human jaw. The Kuma he had been fighting turned its head back towards him and fired another laser attack from its mouth at him that Naruto was forced to again jump out of the way to dodge. He wound up jumping right into the trajectory of another Kuma that had his hands extended as a light shone from its palms. Shit. Naruto said as he made a series of hand seals just as the second Kuma fired. The blast engulfed Naruto's body, leaving ashen remains behind, until a group of at least 30 Naruto Kage Bunshin leapt from the rooftops behind the Kuma that had just attacked and formed Rasengan in one hand each, Rasencho Terengan large group of spiraling spheres. Naruto's clones landed on their target and drilled it into the ground in a massive cloud of dust that filled the air. The other two remaining enemies looked around with glowing red eyes before launching laser attacks at a nearby building. As it was destroyed from the reckless attack, Naruto jumped from behind it, an angry look on his face. I need to get these idiots out of town or they'll end up killing people. Even if my clones evacuated the area, this is still a terrible place for a fight. Taking that thought to heart, Naruto once again took off in tactical retreat to find a better place to fight. The two other Kumas, once again, single-mindedly went after him. Moments later, Soren appeared in the area and looked for Naruto in the wreckage that had been freshly caused. Great, I just missed him. Why is he so hard to chase down when I actually need to find him? A sound of something stirring in a nearby crater got his attention. Uzumaki. As he stuck his head over the side he almost got it taken off by a blast of a laser. What? The Kuma Naruto's clones had bombarded with their joint Rasengan salvo climbed out of the crater with multiple spiral marks cut into his clothes and carved into the surface of his flesh, but underneath the marks was blood and a silver substance that Soren couldn't identify, but didn't look natural in the least. Soren, the plague. Bounty. 200 million belly. Orders. Secondary objective. Capture or immediate execution. Soren looked at the battle-damaged Kuma with anger and set himself in a ready stance. Well, it may not be the one I'm looking for, but until I find the right Shichibukai, Kuma, killing you will have to do. Capture or execution my ass. He then ran at Kuma and jumped up on a fist that was thrown at him, proceeding to launch off of it at his enemy's chest and hit it flush with a palm strike. Ishitora Kyuke, Stone Tiger Break. Soren's face twisted in pain after hitting his mark. Soren jumped back to dodge a retaliatory punch and held his right hand gingerly. What the fuck was that? It felt like I just hit pure metal. He seethed in pain as he watched Kuma open up his fist to show his palm that was glowing before he fired a laser beam at Soren, who hit the deck to avoid the attack. I didn't know Kuma could do that. Soren said tentatively as he stood back up testing his injured hand out. Shit, I can't even make a fist. Kuma sprinted forward, catching Soren off guard at how fast the big guy was and smashed the ground in front of him with a punch that Soren barely stepped back from. Kuma then loaded his opposite arm up and smashed Soren to the side with a hard backhand that sent him rolling along the ground. He stalked towards the fallen Soren slowly. Soren picked himself up, holding his ribs. What a monster, but I'm not done yet, because I can't lose, not until I kill that guy. Now get out of my way. Ebi no Jacken, rot hose. Soren channeled his acid into his arms and blasted a forceful stream of acid at the massive figure, coating him in the corrosive fluid. Soren watched Kuma go still and figured he finally got him as he heard his acid eat through with a hiss. There you go. Shichibukai my ass, I knew I could beat him. He started walking away until he heard the sounds of acid die down to nothing. That shouldn't have finished so quickly. He turned around and his eyes widened at what he saw. All of the clothing on what he had first thought to be Kuma had completely disintegrated, along with a large majority of the skin lying under it, but underneath there was a metal frame that, while smoking from Soren's attack, wasn't being eaten through. The metal monster continued to walk towards Soren and steadily pick up the pace until it was outright charging at him with glowing red eyes. It opened its mouth and fired another beam at Soren that he dodged, but he still wound up being plowed into by the juggernaut that sent both of them crashing into the side of a nearby building and out the other side where Soren was not so neatly deposited on the ground. Coughing at the damage done to his body at getting driven through a building, he rolled on the ground in pain as he looked at the advancing metal creature come at him steadily. What the hell are you? XXX. With foxhound pirates, Nojiko was standing on the dock between Bonnie's ship and the natural disaster. I don't understand. How can there be more than one Bartholomew Kuma? You said there were 3. No one's ever seen more than one ever before, and he's never been stated as having any family. Bonnie watched as her wounded men were placed aboard the ship. I'm just telling you what I saw. I'm no fool. I know what Kuma looks like, and I'm saying that I saw Kuma, and another Kuma. There wasn't anything that could tell them apart. Take it any way you want to. All I know is I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm no match for one Kuma, and your boy is taking on 3. Vivi poked her head over the side of the ship. Nojiko, should I prepare to leave? Maybe Naruto can do that thing he always does to show up when we leave him behind. Nojiko shook her head. We're not leaving him behind again, Hiraishin or not. And Soren's here too, you know. We can't just let them both stay here by themselves. We'll wait. Bonnie shook her head. I don't know if that's brave or stupid. I don't have any reason to stay here and die like you all do apparently, so I'm out of here. I have my own skin I need to save. She got aboard her ship and turned back with a grin. If Uzumaki survives, tell him I still owe him for covering my escape. We never got to finish our little contest back there either. Nojiko rolled her eyes. Yeah, sure. I'll tell him when he gets back here in 15 minutes. We might even catch up to you if we're going the same way. Vivi watched the banter between the two. Do you think Naruto will really get back here in 15 minutes? Vivi asked. Nojiko shrugged. Not really. Vivi gasped. Did she not think he could win this time? It might take 20. I don't know, it's up to him. Vivi almost fell off of the ship from the misinterpreted signal she had been getting. Where's Miss Valentine? XXX. With Naruto, stop shooting at me, you idiots. Naruto yelled as lasers flew past him while he continued to run away. You're going to blow the whole town up at this rate. Naruto saw a turn coming and saw one of the opponents charging up another laser from its mouth. Naruto quickly sprung off of the wall and jumped back at the attacker, connecting with a kick planted right under the chin. Naruto got him to slide back with his head turned up from the force of the kick, but saw him lower his head with a loud crack noise. This is ridiculous, I am dropping one of you right here right now. He moved out of the way of a kick from the second Kuma, and slammed his shoulder into his body while he was still off balance, managing to knock one of them down at last. Naruto jumped into the air off of his chest and came back down with a Rasengan between both of his hands coated with a jagged outline. Fudden. Rasengan, wind release. Spiraling sphere. Naruto carved into Kuma's chest with his Rasengan and gritted his teeth at the sound of his wind scraping against metal. Once he actually paid attention, he realized that he was drilling straight into metal. Metal tougher than steel because the Rasengan was meeting with some serious resistance. It shouldn't have taken nearly as long to get through to this thing's innards even if it was made of regular metal. He finally punched a hole through it and drove his hand through to the back. This thing isn't human after all. Naruto thought to himself. I don't have to hold back anymore. Naruto jumped off of the pacifista as he wasn't doing anything but leaving himself open for a counter-attack that almost happened when the other inhuman assailant missed its laser attack. I don't really like the whole killing thing. But you guys aren't human, and you're trying to kill me, so you're just out of luck today. He then sweat dropped when he saw the one he had just punched a gaping hole into with the Rasengan stand back up, but something seemed off about it. It located Naruto and fired off another laser, and then another, and then another. Naruto was dodging laser after laser from the wounded golem while the one he had hardly injured came towards him to fight up close. Whenever Naruto dodged a close-range attack and went into counterattack, he would end up getting shot at by the other one that was standing back and twitching uncontrollably. What was wrong with that thing? It seemed berserk because it wasn't waiting for the other one to clear the way before firing, and it seemed to fire every 5 seconds. I have an awesome idea. Naruto looked at the Kuma that was firing every few seconds and then at the one that was trying to attack him close. Naruto made 3 cage bunshin that all scattered in different directions, drawing the laser shooting Kuma's attention and giving him time by getting him to waste a shot to take one of his clones out before they could all get away. Naruto waited to dodge another physical attack and latched onto that Kuma's face. Right on cue the other one fired a laser blast, prompting Naruto to jump off of the first one and allow him to take the shot intended for him. Naruto let the thing get a full-on blast from its comrade. Worked like a charm, Naruto shouted as he watched his adversary get blasted into a building as it crumbled around him. However, he let the 5-second rule slip his mind for long enough that the remaining Kuma got a shot in on him from behind. As the laser blast exploded on his body and sent him sliding along the ground, he saw his enemy loading up another one to hit him with before he could retake his feet. That shot actually hurt quite a bit. A few more like that and he might not be walking away from this one. Naruto's body stopped moving along the ground and gave him a chance to assess his damage. Yeah, he couldn't take much more of that. It felt like his spine wanted to punch through his belly and he knew the back of his coat no longer existed. 10,000 kilo press. Miss Valentine landed on the laser shooting combatant and crushed it, cracking the ground deeply and causing a significant tremor. Miss Valentine sat in place for a moment, blinking before jumping up, holding her backside. Oh wow 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 wow. What the hell is he made of? Metal. She looked down at the crushed remains of what she just landed on. Oh. Yeah, he is. She rubbed her rear absently until she saw Naruto picking himself up off of the ground. Naruto. Naruto saw her running towards him as he stood back up. Damn it, Valentine, you do not come find me while I'm fighting. A hard shot to the top of the head deposited him back onto the ground. What the fuck? Miss Valentine yanked him back to his feet and lifted him off of the ground by his collar. You dumbass. I was worried about you. You can hear the explosions all the way from the docks, and then I saw you get hit. I thought you were dead. Naruto saw tears that threatened to gather in her eyes. I'm sorry. But it's going to take more than one lucky shot to finish me off, so don't worry about that. Nothing's going to kill me, all right. Miss Valentine looked away and before he could comment she pressed her mouth to his. He flirted with her all the time, yes, but he never really expected her to take a shine to him like that. She broke the kiss abruptly, unable to meet his eyes with a light blush on her cheeks. Naruto said, trying to come up with something to say until the sound of rock falling caught his ear. He grabbed Miss Valentine and shunshined out of the way just as a laser flashed past where they were standing. A clang sound rang out as Naruto's foot smashed into the side of the underlying metal head of the still-moving figure that had its upper body clothing blasted away from the dead Kuma's laser blast. Naruto landed on his feet as the body of the strange golem went tumbling away. He had Miss Valentine held at his side and his eyes were outlined with an orange pigment and the pupils looked like that of a toad. He had a visible scowl on his face as he let go of her body and glared at his attacker. We were having a moment. He wordlessly formed 2 cage bunshin and lifted his right hand into the air, forming a Rasengan. Both of his cage bunshin were manipulating chakra around the Rasengan and eventually formed a large shuriken shape around the Rasengan center. Miss Valentine held her ears as a loud screeching noise rang out from the formation of Naruto's attack. The golem charged up laser blasts from both of its hands and from its mouth and took aim at Naruto, who still had a look of cold indifference on his face. Let's see if this doesn't tear you into pieces. Fudden. Rasenshuriken, wind release. Spiraling shuriken. He let the jutsu fly from his fingertips just as the lasers were fired. Naruto's jutsu cut across the landscape in 1 second flat, cutting right through the laser and hitting his target flush. Naruto turned to shield Miss Valentine's body as the attack expanded and created a massive wind sphere that swept up much of the surrounding area in a torrent of destruction. The effects of the jutsu faded, leaving nothing of the body it hid behind. Miss Valentine watched as Naruto's clones dispelled and Naruto's eyes went back to normal. He grabbed her hand and walked forward as she took note of the ruin caused by the battle. Naruto let out a sigh. I was getting sick of those things, and then it attacked you. It may have been overkill, but I don't care. What was that? She asked. You've never used that before. Naruto looked back at her. Fudden. Rasenshuriken, wind release. Spiraling shuriken. You saw it. But it's actually strong enough to cut through a mountain if I wanted it to. Like I said, overkill. And I've still got worse moves than this. They both looked at the epicenter of where Naruto's jutsu hit home. The only thing left was the head. It had all kinds of equipment sticking out of its neck. Miss Valentine frowned when she looked at it. A cyborg. Naruto raised an eyebrow. A what? A cyborg. She repeated. A human turned into a machine with metal mechanical enhancements to improve on the human form. Naruto nodded in understanding, like a human puppet. Miss Valentine gave him an odd look. Don't worry about it, it's a long story. I get the point though, no problem. And by the way, since all of this is done with. He turned her towards him abruptly and kissed her, surprising the blonde woman who finally started to return it. When they broke away, Miss Valentine had a flustered look on her face and swayed in place slightly. What was that for? What about Nojiko? Naruto shook his head. She and her sister Nami said they were going to share me even when I said being with me was a horrible idea, and they said they were going to be greedy and not give me a choice. If that's the case, and you really do care about me, it would be greedy to not give you the same chance, Miss Valentine. Do you care? A smile crossed her face as she let out a slight laugh. If I cared I wouldn't have done it in the first place, Naruto. She kissed him again before pulling away. What about Soren? He said he was coming after you. Naruto looked around. I never saw him. Are you sure? She nodded. Fuck. Where is he? Boom XXX with Soren. Soren was held up by one limp arm by the now identified cyborg he had been stuck fighting. No matter how hard he hit the damn thing, it wouldn't even flinch, show pain, anything. He couldn't melt the metal hull with his acid, no matter how much he pumped into it. He had refilled his liquids twice so far and he was running low again. I am not going out like this. This thing isn't even a person. It's not even Bartholomew Kuma. It's a fake. A damn tough fake, but the real thing is stronger than this, and if I can't win here then I can't beat the real Kuma, and if that's the case I'll never be able to face off with him. Soren thought as the cyborg opened its mouth. It's still just a machine in the end. All it can do is follow the same patterns over and over again. A default proxy program. He saw the light beginning to form in the back of its throat. You lose, Ibi no Kuzui, rot flood. Soren's cheeks puffed out widely before shooting a torrent of acid directly into the mouth of the battle-ready cyborg. The light in the back of its throat faded and everything stood still for a moment before sparks started popping off wildly from the inside of its mouth. The eyes glowed red before the light slowly faded to dark and its head slumped over. Soren stayed hanging in the defunct cyborg's hand. Ow, he said weakly as he swayed back and forth. Naruto and Miss Valentine appeared on the scene to see the wounded bald bounty hunter caught in the grip of the damaged golem. Naruto walked close. Soren, are you alive? Get me down, Soren said with his teeth grit tightly. Naruto and Miss Valentine looked at each other and shrugged, with her jumping onto the arm to pry its fingers free and Naruto pulling down on Soren's body. Ow. Damn it, I meant get me down gently. Naruto slung Soren's good arm over his shoulder and helped him stay upright. Sorry Soren. I thought I killed that one. Are you alright? Soren gave him a dry look that lost its impact when you had to look through all of the injuries. My arm is as limp as a hanging noose Uzumaki. I can taste blood welling up from my throat, and if I can even walk right now without you holding me up, I'm taking your spot as captain right now. I'll live, I just need to rest. Miss Valentine shook her head. No, you need a doctor. Soren sighed and looked at her. Well, if you can manage to scare one up after this little ruckus we raised then feel free, but if not I think we should get the hell out of here before the Marines come checking on exactly what happened here. He looked at his limp, unresponsive right arm. I'm going to have to gut it out until we can get someone to fix me. Naruto patted him on his good shoulder. You're going to be fine, they're just baby scratches, right? Soren chuckled humorlessly. Yeah, right. Baby scratches. XXX. 3 days later, Nojiko walked out of Soren's room with Naruto, sans sage coat, in tow behind her, who yelled back into the room behind him. You don't have to be such a punk ass about it, I had to pop your shoulder back in eventually. You put it off for 3 days, that only made it harder to do. Soren's voice echoed out of the room down the hall. You warn somebody before you do shit like that, Uzumaki. I wasn't ready. Naruto smirked as he and Nojiko walked away. If I said something you would have tensed up and made it worse. It's not my fault you screamed like a little girl. Just lay there and heal like a good boy, you'll be fine. Naruto toned his voice down to speak to Nojiko. He's going to heal up fine, right? Nojiko nodded. Nothing he has requires surgery, thank goodness. After you popped his arm back and everything else will just take time to heal. We dodged a bullet this time, Naruto-kun. If he had been any worse and actually needed surgery on something, none of us know how to do it. It was times like this Naruto wished he didn't have such an obscene, limitless amount of chakra. It was what kept him from learning medical ninjutsu no matter how much he tried out of boredom in his later years. He never got any better at it. All he had managed to pick up after all these years was basic battlefield medicine that he used to patch Soren up once they got aboard. Nojiko continued speaking. We need a doctor, Naruto-kun, for the crew to stay alive. You've kept us out of trouble for a while now and did a good job of making sure we never got extremely hurt, but any more damage and Soren might have ended up crippled. She shook her head. If we're going to keep going, we're going to need a doctor. I don't even know how you've been getting along all this time, especially after Miss Valentine told me you wound up taking a pretty nasty hit from one of those cyborg things. He waved off her concern. Don't worry about me, it's almost impossible to kill me outright. Naruto sighed. But where the hell are we going to find a doctor, Noji-chan? I mean, we can't all luck out like Luffy and find a doctor willing to travel with us. Especially not one that doubles as a reindeer, cute little mascot of awesome. Well, we need to do something, Nojiko said as they made it back to the common area. Or do you plan on holding everyone together with duct tape and super glue when the going gets tough, Dr. General Store? She said jokingly. Naruto sat down on a couch and pointed at her. Hey, using super glue to hold wounds shut is a legit emergency medical practice. Nojiko sweat dropped. God, I was actually joking about that. Are you actually serious? Never mind, I don't want to know. She said, waving him off before sitting beside him. And just so you know, Miss Valentine and I had a very interesting conversation while Soren was out of it and you were getting us out of the last island in one piece. Naruto looked at her, giving him a curious look. There's no pistol under my chin and I'm not currently dodging bullets. What does that mean? Nojiko laid her head down on his shoulder. It means go ahead. When she tilted her eyes to the side and saw him looking at her incredulously, she smiled. Yes, that go ahead. You're a big-time powerful pirate, aren't you? Can't you handle more women or what? Naruto narrowed his eyes and spoke with a mock growl. First of all, I can handle you, your sister, and Miss Valentine back to back, twice each I might add. Nojiko giggled at that. You want me to show you? He gave her a kiss on the cheek. Second of all, and most important. I can't state this enough, I'm not a pirate. I haven't done anything piratey at all. Fighting Marines doesn't make me a pirate. Having a ship doesn't make me a pirate. Having a bounty MMPH. Naruto was cut off by Nojiko kissing him. Nojiko broke away. I get the point. Now go outside, Captain. You have a job to do. I'll figure out where we're going to next and I'll tell you. Just keep us on course and don't get us lost, or put us onto the comm belt. Nojiko got up and walked back deeper into the ship. Naruto stood up off of the couch and went back outside. Once he was on deck, he found Vivi sitting patiently with Karu, watching Johnny and Yosaku spar against one another to go over technique. Miss Valentine draped herself over his back. Hello, Valentine. Hello, Naruto. She replied brightly, nuzzling his neck. I'm glad to see you actually. I figured we can start slow with your training, Naruto said, getting a look of surprise from his fellow blonde as he made a cage bunchen to steer the ship. Yeah. And you're going to hate me after we start too. Miss Valentine held herself against him tightly. I doubt that, Naruto. You won't maim me with what you do, so it won't matter. Naruto laughed. I'm not going to hurt you, Valentine. And this has nothing to do with how tough you are. Now set yourself in the middle of the ship so we keep our equilibrium when you start. Naruto turned towards Johnny and Yosaku. Guys, take it elsewhere right now. Go fight inside, you need the experience in close quarters anyway. The voice of Nojiko sounded out from inside. Naruto-kun, if I see them fighting in here, I'm going to pull out the shotgun and blow them away. Never mind. Naruto said with a sweat drop. Come here. He said to Miss Valentine. She did as she was told and stood in front of Naruto. Now can you control how much weight you put into any particular limb, or is it just all distributed evenly? Miss Valentine gave him a lost look. I don't know. Naruto smirked. Well, let's try it. Put your arm out. Miss Valentine did as told once again. Now focus on it, nothing else. Now think about whatever you think about when you use the kilo no mi, just focus on that arm. After about 5 seconds Miss Valentine dropped face first on the deck. That's what I thought. The only reason you can even hold yourself upright when using your fruit is because the weight was always distributed evenly around your entire body and all of your muscles adjusted with it. He leaned down at her as she picked herself up off of the ground onto her knees. He poked her on the forehead, getting her to turn her green eyes onto his blue ones. Your first exercise, you're going to learn how to channel weight to every limb in your body, and then you're going to learn how to lift that body part without fully distributing the weight. And you're going to keep doing it, and keep doing it, until finally you can channel and lift all 10,000 kilograms of what your fruit will let you use to one body part and one body part only, as if you weren't even weighed down. Miss Valentine's eyes widened. Is that even possible? Naruto shrugged. I don't know, but we are going to find out, aren't we? She waited a moment after he stopped speaking when he didn't continue, and then what? Naruto's face put on a massive grin. That's when the real fun will begin. Your fruit is good for more than one thing, and I can tell you right now we're going to find out just what you can do with it. He helped her up. Start small. Figure out exactly what your body can handle and start from there. Adding even 500 kilograms to a punch is still better than throwing one at your normal weight. How do I do that? She asked. Naruto grabbed her arm and held it out like before. Keep trying with a lower weight until you can keep your arm held up. Once you have that for each of your limbs, come get me and I'll give you your real workout schedule. He turned to Vivi, who was still sitting and watching. Now you're with me. Come on. Vivi's face lit up and she got to her feet swiftly, Karu following. Naruto turned to Johnny and Yosaku. Go fight near the helm, but do not dispel my cage Bunshin. Naruto smirked as he felt the ship shake, a sign that Miss Valentine still hadn't found a good weight to start using for her arm yet. And she still had 3 more limbs to go when she got that right. Why don't you start low and work your way up instead of doing it backwards, unless you like falling down? He felt her killing intent on him, but he just shrugged it off. Vivi was noticeably excited. She had wanted to get started for just about well over a week now. So what about me, Naruto? What's for me? Naruto smiled at how eager she was. Well, I've been over your fighting style in my head over and over, and I've got something. First of all, he grabbed her belt, which doubled as one of her weapons. I like this. Keep using this. This is your primary weapon. Keep the smaller ones on you and I'll get you better with those in case you need them, but this is what you use first and foremost. This has range, and using 2 at the same time the way you did against me could really catch some faster opponents off guard. Vivi nodded dutifully as she took all of this in. Yes, I've got it. She reached to draw her weapon when Naruto stopped her hand. What's wrong? She asked a grinning Naruto. He shook his head. You're not doing that first. Yes, learning how to attack is all well and good, but I made a promise that you weren't going to get hurt on my watch, and that means that if you're so dead set on learning how to fight, you're also going to get good at dodging. Really good. Really good. You're going to be able to dodge in your sleep. That made Vivi start laughing at how absurd that sounded until Naruto's face and voice turned serious. I'm not kidding. You're seriously going to learn how to dodge in your sleep. Pell, Chaka, Agaram, your buddy Koza, and your old man Cobra are going to try and kick my ass if I bring you back with even a mark or a scuff on you, and while I could beat them all with my eyes closed and both hands tied behind my back, I have enough enemies and your country already thinks that I kidnapped you. I don't need them thinking I abused you either. What? Vivi said, slightly afraid now at the way Naruto had said all of that. In my sleep. Naruto nodded sagely. Vivi, by the time I'm done with you, you will have the awareness that can only be obtained through years and years of combat and people trying their hardest to kill you, most of the time without you even looking when they try. Which leads us to your first exercise. He said with a grin as he pulled out a blindfold. What are you going to do with that? Vivi asked as she started backing away. Naruto took up a lecturing posture. From what I saw in our little scuffle, you and your duck have the best natural sixth sense when it comes to dodging I've ever seen firsthand from a novice. I should have taken your head off at least twice when we were sparring, and you should have been riddled with shuriken at one point. Add that to the fact that he grabbed her foot, lifted her leg and set it on his shoulder without so much as a single complaint of discomfort from her. You are very flexible. Now there's a much more fun way we can teach you to use that, but for now we're just going to stick to teaching you evasive skills for now. Vivi let him put her leg down. She was with him so far. She already had attacks for the time being, and being able to stay out of harm's way would be useful, so what am I going to do, Naruto? You haven't given me an exercise yet. Naruto frowned. I was trying to make sure I gave you good reasons for what I'm about to do, because when I'm done you're going to hate me too. He lifted both of his hands and tugged sharply on some ninja wire tied to all fingers on both hands that revealed a maze of tangled wire running along the length of one side of the ship. You're going through this blindfolded. Naruto let some slack into his fingers to reveal that he had full control over the wire with just his fingers. You're going to go back and forth up and down this course and I'm going to pull wires randomly to mess you up. For now all it will do is trip you, but eventually I'm going to come up with stiffer punishments for getting caught up, and I'm going to make the whole process harder and progressively more elaborate. You're not training Nojiko like this, Vivi said, not really looking forward to this. Bang, damn it Naruto-kun, if you don't stop blindsiding me with your clones I'm going to blow you up when you get in your bed tonight. Nojiko shouted. That's what she said. They all heard from a male voice inside. Bang, shut up and go back to sleep Soren. Naruto watched Vivi sweat drop at hearing Nojiko unknowingly contradict her from inside. You're going to be getting that too eventually. That's a long ways away now though. Now get to it. Vivi stood still until Naruto directed her towards where he wanted her to be. Karu pushed her towards the starting point and sat down to watch her. What do I do now? She asked tentatively. Naruto smiled. Not that she could see it. Start walking. You'll know when to dodge, or maybe you won't. That's the whole point. Now get to it. Vivi gulped and started tentatively walking. From Naruto's earlier display the wire was incredibly thin, but powerful. And while she saw it when they were all up and out she couldn't see them on the deck no matter how hard she looked. She looked back at Naruto who didn't have a single tell on his face as to what he was going to do. He was seated up by the helm on the railing with his eyes closed in the lotus position. What is he doing? She thought to herself as she lifted her leg and took a dramatic test step. She turned around abruptly to see that Naruto hadn't even budged an inch, so she took another step, nothing again. She sighed in relief and lifted her leg to make another step when Naruto smirked, eyes still closed, and twitched his pinky. Vivi then found herself snared in a mess of wires. Wah! She cried in alarm. How'd you do that? She asked, trying to wriggle herself free before she remembered who she was talking to. Never mind. Just get me down. Naruto's smirk grew and he loosened up his pinky, letting the wires go slack and dropping Vivi on the deck. She picked herself up and blew her disheveled blue bangs out of her face. How am I supposed to do this? Naruto started moving his fingers, snaring Vivi back up in the wires in all kinds of positions to tease her. When the sun hits the wire the right way you'll be able to see them vaguely. Not very well, but good enough to get a good idea of where you should be going. Also, your reflexes will get better so that even when I actually trigger the wires you should be able to avoid them. Practice, practice, practice Vivi. I'll be right here all day. Now back to the start and try it again. Vivi went back to the start and this time made it 5 steps before Naruto pulled up one lone wire and tripped her up, causing her to fall flat on her face. He laughed slightly and looked over at Miss Valentine. When you've found the weight you need to start with I want 500 punches per arm, and 250 kicks per leg, and no slacking. Johnny, Yosaku. Both of them crashed into the railing Naruto was sitting on, clashing blades. Tell Miss Valentine what slackers get. Yosaku, who was pushing Johnny against the railing, one hand on his sword, and one hand on Johnny's face, facing him bitterly. Slackers get their asses kicked by Naruto and Ikki until they get their asses in gear. Or, Naruto said as if expecting another simple answer. Yosaku didn't let him down on that front, feeding time for Samahata. He said as he continued to bully Johnny. Johnny then proceeded to bite his fingers that strayed too close to his mouth. Ow, you son of a bitch. No biting. Johnny mumbled as he continued to bite down on his friend's fingers. You ain't cheating, you ain't trying. With that he placed the bottom of his boot on Yosaku's face and kicked off to free himself before charging back into battle. Naruto didn't look at the two battling men, as he kept a watchful eye on Miss Valentine and kept tripping up and ensnaring Vivi in his wires without really looking at her. It's no holds barred sparring, Yosaku, no real rules. Feel the burn. If it doesn't hurt, you're not doing it right. That's what she said. Soren yelled from inside. Nojiko responded from inside as well. For God's sake, Soren, shut up before I pistol whip you to sleep. XXX nightfall. So, Naruto said, standing in Soren's room leaning against the wall. Cyborgs, huh? And you're saying for sure that what we fought wasn't Bartholomew Kuma like what Bonnie said? Soren was laying out on his bed, bandaged up from his single bandaged leg to one of his shoulders which was held in a sling. Nope. Kuma's not a cyborg, he's a human. He really is that big though, but he's definitely stronger than those things. Do you even have any damage from the fight at all? He asked testily. Hell yeah, Naruto said, turning around and lifting his shirt to show his back, red and with skin peeling. That damn laser blast cooked my back like a fryer when it hit me, and it fucked up my coat. Have you ever been beaten up by an elderly toad that you swore should have died back when you were a kid? Well, I did when I gave my coat up to be repaired again. Who the hell sent those things? Soren looked out his window. Beats me. But those things will never mess me up like this again. I know how to beat them now. So they can keep them coming if they want. It's no problem to me at all. Naruto looked at Soren and chuckled. Yeah, you look like you're ready for a fight right now. You couldn't beat up a cockroach the way you are now. Soren glared at him. I don't need to be able to move to melt you where you stand, so keep talking, Uzumaki, please. Easy killer. Naruto said jokingly to pacify him. Heal up fast, Soren. I'm getting them up to speed the best I can, but it might not be enough the next time trouble kicks up. Soren looked at the captain strangely. You think something's going to happen? Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Well, yeah. Do you really think nothing's going to happen? Our track record for bad things happening to us sucks. I wouldn't be surprised if we run into a Sea King migration trail or something tomorrow. Soren paled once he realized that Naruto was right. Seriously, don't say things like that. You know something worse is probably going to happen because of it, you bad luck bastard. But you're right. Naruto got off of the wall and walked over to the door. So get better, because like I said, we're going to need everyone in top condition soon. Will do, Uzumaki, Soren said as he watched Naruto leave. What are you about to go do now? Naruto stopped at the door and stroked his chin in thought before breaking into a grin. Going to see if Noji-chan wants to play or not. Watching Naruto leave and shut the door behind him, Soren palmed his face with his good arm. That guy has got to be the most insane, most aggravating, strongest, laziest, and baffling son of a bitch I've ever met in my life. Naruto-kun, your bedroom, not mine. Soren placed a pillow over his face and punched the wall of his room repeatedly. Damn it, again. They need to make these damn walls thicker before they do this again. Fucking pervert. Omake. In need of ramen. One Naruto stood in the kitchen with Miss Valentine leaning against the counter, slamming his head against it. Okay, Valentine, Naruto said calmly. I've been calm, I've been cool. I've never asked you for anything ever, right? She nodded, smiling at him sweetly. Okay, I need you. You need me, Miss Valentine said, trying to get him to coax his words out. Come on, Naruto. Tell me what you want. Naruto sighed. Fine, I've never asked you to make anything in particular. You're awesome and everything you make is absolutely great. But it has been an untold amount of months since I've had ramen. Nowhere I've been since I left the elemental nations has ramen. It is slowly driving me insane. Miss Valentine pinched his cheek. You mean you're not insane already? Naruto chuckled as she pinched his cheek. Well, more insane, hey. He shook her off to pick up where he left off. Anyway, I need you to do your absolute best to make me some ramen. Miss Valentine's smile dropped slightly. I'll try, but I've never seen ramen before. I never even heard of it until you started talking about it. Do you know how to make it? Naruto started listing things off on his fingers. Okay, we need dough, flour, fresh water, something to make the broth with, dry seaweed, green onions, some kamaboko, and if we have it, corn, I guess. Miss Valentine was making a mental checklist of everything that Naruto had said. She finally gave him a beaming smile. Sure thing, Naruto. I don't know how well I'll do, but you're counting on me, and I'll give it my best shot. She finished with a laugh. Naruto grinned at her and pulled her close in a hug. Thank you, Miss Valentine. I swear, if you can pull this off, and make me ramen good enough to put months and months of ramen deprivation into the back of my mind, I will give you anything you want. Anything in the world. Seriously, I don't care what it is, I will make it happen or get it to you. Her green eyes shone brightly with delight, and something else at hearing that. Anything. Anything I want. Naruto was oblivious to what was in his female resident cook's eyes as he continued to hug her. Yeah, totally. Anything you want. I'm Uzumaki Naruto woman, I can do anything. I can move mountains if you needed me to. Miss Valentine's smile grew and a faint blush grew on her face as she continued to hug him. What I want from you isn't nearly that difficult to get, Naruto. I was going to just get you to give it to me the hard way, but when I make this dish of yours I'll have actually earned it, and from the sounds that Nojiko makes all the time I think it'll be worth the effort. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as well as checking out the author on fanfiction.net.